Hey, what's up, you guys? All right, I think we're live. This is Danny Batsalkin, and welcome to another episode of DannyBLive. I have right here next to me, right there next to me. So, Parker, I just told you that it was just going to be me on the screen, but I forgot to click over to the other thing. So it's both of us. Tech, right? So anyway, over here, I got Parker Beatty, my good friend. I've known for a long time. He is the sales manager over at Compass Real Estate in Beverly Hills. He oversees a ton of agents, and he is going to tell us how to build $1 million real estate business. So let's go. All right, here we go. What's up, you guys? So now we got it right. Now we got Parker right there. I'm Danny Batsalkin. Welcome to another episode of DannyBLive. You guys, do me a favor. If you are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, down below is a subscription link. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you get notified about all of our videos. Every single week, we do weekly insights into real estate, business, finance. My passion, my goal, help you make great decisions in those areas. And if you're a real estate agent, a lender, a title rep, anything in sales, and you want to build a business that's predictable, that's profitable, that's fun, then reach out to me and I may have something to help you out. But today, it's all about how to build $1 million real estate business. There really is no one better to talk to us about that than Parker. So Parker, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being on today.
All right, Danny, thanks for having me.
All right, and I should say, you guys, if you're watching this live on YouTube, please go ahead and throw your questions, your comments into the chat box. Not the comments box, but the chat box, which apparently are different. And when you throw your questions in there, we will answer them live on the air. And please give us a big thumbs up. Trying to get to 20 thumbs up today. Last time we got to about 15, 16. Right now we're at 3. So if you're watching, hit that thumbs up button so we know you're there. And so YouTube shows this to more people. That's what we really want. So Parker, we can get your message out, right?
All right. Fantastic. Danny, thanks for dressing up for me today, shaving, doing your hair. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, this is working from home, dude. This is how we do it now.
I love it.
Listen, black t-shirt, V-neck is like, this is dressing up for me.
I know you got. I wore a collared shirt. Same situation.
I know. You can go to the country club. You're ready to go. Yeah. I could have just worn like my swimming trunks. So that's what I'm usually in at home.
You could still be wearing your swimming trunks. But.
I still could. You would know. Well, anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Parker, let's go ahead and kick it off, man. I would just love to hear. You've been kind of on an amazing journey in real estate, and now you're at Compass, overseeing all these agents. We'd just love to have you share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. It is, when you look back at these things, it's like, how did I wind up here? I came to Los Angeles when I went to UCLA and graduated from UCLA. And at the time, this was a long time ago, I moved to Manhattan Beach. And during that point in time, if you graduated from UCLA or USC, you generally just moved to the beach. It was not as fancy and incredibly built out as it is now. It was more of a sleepy beach town. And I went down there, and I found a job that was close to my house, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can save money because I'm close to my house. I'll be able to save money on gas, and I'll be able to go home for lunch. And that job was working for a real estate investor. It was a commercial real estate boutique investment firm. And I turned out was able to have a mentor that was a very prominent real estate investor. I didn't know that at the time. And I wasn't brokering. I wasn't a broker or an agent at the time. I was just learning this incredible business that turned out to be a very, very sophisticated commercial industrial syndication operation. And by the time I was done there, we had acquired $400 million in commercial real estate and multiple syndications. And I was involved in all of that, learning how to analyze properties, look at these businesses, turn these businesses around, or a building or an office building is an entire business with a staff and all of these components, learning that and the documentation that went along with that. And then we packaged that up and sold it to real estate investment trusts. So we sold that to Wall Street. So I had experience or an opportunity to see what that looked like, and was really involved in a lot of things that, as a recent graduate, I should absolutely not have been doing. I had no qualification to be doing that at all. So I'm grateful that gentleman sort of just threw me into the deep end and said swim. Um, it was at that point when we sold this portfolio off to Wall Street. I said, you know what, I think I can do this myself. Like, I've got all the nuts and bolts, and I grouped with a few friends, and we began syndicating apartment buildings. And at the time, which was I think in the late '90s, you really could not make a mistake. You could get an 8 cap on any apartment building, so you get a return. A lot of people, it wasn't is super mainstream like it is now. I mean, everyone's doing this now. There's all these podcast websites, all these things. So we started doing that. I remember the first building we bought was $800,000. It was a 6-unit complex in Brentwood, in a prime Brentwood, right? And
Wow.
we purchased this thing and got a great deal. And I think we had to raise, I don't know, $150,000, and we had to do it through 50 people. I mean, we were like, can I get $10 here? Can I get $100 over here? Like, I mean, it was scrounging the couch for change on that one. And I just remember that specific one. We sort of got really lucky. We fixed it up. We put new tenants in it. And I remember it was a day before Thanksgiving, someone came in and had a 1031 exchange. It was expiring the next day. And they had to buy it, 24 hours. They had to buy it.
Wow.
We went to an attorney's office, threw a bunch of documentation on a table, and closed on an escrow shortly thereafter. Made a bunch of money, huge, enormous return, and then took that and bought more property. So I got involved in that, and then I got involved in we had purchased some property along the way where we were intending to develop. So we purchased some property in the beach cities down in Huntington Beach, built a number of homes. I really enjoyed home building and that process. We formed a development company, got a general contractor, built all these homes, sold most of them, which is good because then the market crashed. And I was, not quite wiped out. We had done very, very well on a lot of things. I had been very fortunate. But it was at that point that people started calling me and saying, "Hey, Parker, would you've been doing real estate for a long time. Would you buy a house or sell a house for me?" I had gotten my real estate license to sell the homes I built. Because like I said, I way overbuilt the homes and I wanted to be the one who sold them. And so I kind of had this business that just grew very organically, and fell in with some people who I was lucky to be mentored by, and that's how it all got started. And I wound up in real estate brokerage, both residential and in multifamily for, 6 or 7 years, and then wound up moving into the management piece of the business. And I'm grateful now to be managing the Compass office in Beverly Hills. And I have other colleagues that help me with that. It's a very, very large, I think it's about a $3 billion operation, or maybe, I don't know, 2.8 right now. And then I also manage the Hollywood office, which is over $1 billion in sales. So it's a huge volume business. That trail that I just went over armed me with all of the knowledge that enables me to do my job now. So as weird as it was, and it was really circuitous, it's like, did all those things happen for a reason? It kind of arms me to be able to look at contracts, talk to a lot of different people, understand things pretty holistically. So and here I am now in front of you today.
That's right. And by the way, Parker, we did get a big high five from Roberto, who's watching. So Roberto, thanks for tuning in and giving us that high five. If you're just getting here, if you just woke up and you're jumping on the YouTube live, make sure you give us that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also throw your questions into the comment box. Sorry, the chat box. I keep saying comment. There's like 2 boxes, Parker, and the chat box is the one where we want people to put their questions so that I can answer them, and make sure you give them that thumbs up. So, Parker, what I'm hearing, which is really interesting, is that you have so much different experience in real estate that I think that really does arm you well to oversee this huge operation. And I'm gonna hit you with the $1 million question right away, okay? And that is, the topic today was really how to build $1 million business. So here's the hypothetical question I'm gonna hit you with, okay? My name is Danny. I just got my real estate license. There's a pandemic happening. I can't do open houses. There's all these other restrictions, and I want to build $1 million real estate business, by tomorrow, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
So, in the next year, what do I do?
Right, right. So, you gotta, that's a great question. So, and let's talk about that. Like, you and I have worked very, very closely together,
Yes.
on your team and with other items. And when I started in real estate was 1993. It was actually there was a recession, small recession going on, and I did not know it. I didn't know that real estate was bad. And my boss was like furiously spent. He's like, oh my gosh, this is the time to buy. This is the time to buy. This is the time to buy. There's opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. So I feel the same way about this time period that he does. It's a little bit contrarian, right? So one of the things I try to approach looking at things like, oh, like what? Let me take the opposite chance. Let me take the opposite. So a lot of people might say, oh, this is bad. This is impossible to start now, and I would disagree. I think that there's just so many examples of people who start even during really challenging times. Okay, so what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen is that because there's no open houses and people can't go out and be social, there's a lot of people who are working off of their charm and they're going to fall out of real estate. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who didn't have their businesses and don't have their businesses systematized, and they are going to fall out of real estate because they can't be out. I can't throw someone in my car and go look at houses. And when I was an agent, I did that. That was what I did. That's how I got people. I got them and I, qualified them, and then I put them in my car and I went, and it was through excitement and energy and charm and doing a really fast dance that I, made a lot of friends out of clients. But it's not as easy to do that now. So it falls back on, let's just say the specific answer is it falls back onto your CRM, your customer relationship management, which I think up until this time you could get away with not having one. You can just be out there talking to people and going to parties and going to a cocktail party and meeting someone at a concert or whatever that looks like. But now you have to be really purposeful, and I think you can do it. And it's a matter of but you got to get on the phone. Like, how are you going to get talking with other humans? And so currently, I'm instructing or coaching my agents, like, get on the phone with other humans. It's the only way right now. I don't. It's really putting a spotlight on that form of lead generation. Now, certainly there's sort of an online lead generation. But if a new agent came to me right now and asked me this question, I would say, like, oh, wow, you need to find yourself a great mentor, right? Do not go out and do this alone. Join a great team, find a great mentor. You will accelerate the process exponentially. People have already, shocker, people have already done this before you, and there is a best practices to this. You can buy a McDonald's and start trying to make pizza. It just isn't going to work. So it's get that mentorship and learn. And people unfortunately, people's egos get in the way, and they're like, well, I'm on a team and I have to give them a big piece of my split or all these other things. Like, that's tuition, guys. It takes at least 2 years to get going in this business, at least, and really figure out what's going on. Can you knock out a half a dozen deals if you're on fire? Absolutely. Is it going to be really, really, really hard versus joining a team and learning the best way versus the way you think it is? Yeah, like you should get that mentorship, settle your ego down, and really try to learn from other people, because it's while it is a personality-based business and it's based on your relationships, like, learn from the people who are doing it now, and then build and grow, and you can sort of change it to your style as you move forward.
Parker, I got to tell you, that's a great answer. And I think some of the people watching this probably were hoping for, like, the magic pill, like, oh, here's what you do and you get to $1 million. But the thing is, I've interviewed many people that are in high positions, like in management like you, but also that are running teams. And they all say that same answer, which is find a great mentor, find an amazing coach, join a team so that you can learn how to do the business the right way and create the systems that are going to allow you to achieve your goals. So yeah, thanks for that. And thanks for kind of cementing that. By the way, I want to thank Riva, who's on the show, who says, hi, Danny and Parker. And then she has a question for you, Parker. So you ready?
Fire.
Question from the fans. Here we go. What are some of your favorite systems that you have in place or that you insist that your agents use? I know you mentioned CRM. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what that is and actually how to use that on a daily basis.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, a customer relationship management system is nothing new at all. It used to be on a Rolodex or on physical index cards.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and again, especially in these times where you can't, I've had agents who tell me their way of lead generation was like, oh, I go to parties, I go to bars, I go to concerts, or I belong to I encourage people to belong to very charitable organizations or nonprofits or all these things, or sort of boards or whatever, alumni groups. Any particular cause that you like, you can't do that now. Mm-hmm. It's physically not possible. So that's going to need to change to the agent getting in touch with other. I boil it down to you need to talk to more humans.
Yeah.
That your success in real estate is directly proportional to the number of people you talk to every day about real estate. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you need to call people and say, hey, Danny, are you looking to buy or sell? That's not it. It's just calling and using, there's a Ford script. Here's a system, Ford, Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Call someone. Hey, Danny, how's it going? How's your family? Oh, okay, great. How's work going? And that's going to be an interesting conversation right now. Are you guys planning anything fun? Got anything planned for the future, your dreams? And then guess what? Due to the law of reciprocity, people are going to be like, how's it going for you? And they're definitely going to say, what's happening in the real estate market? Now, you got to have an answer beyond it's great, it's busy, it's crazy. It's crazy out there. Out there, what are you talking about? Right, you've got to have oh my God, right, you've got to have a hook. And this is where I think a lot of people fall down. It's oh yeah, is there a way I can provide you more information? I've got access to off-market listings. Can I send you emails? Do you mind if I follow up with you? And anything like that, and always leaving people think, is there anyone you ever know that needs help? Please call me. So it's leaving people with that. And then you're basically training your contacts to refer you. And if you don't do that, you're lost. And so right now, what we're going to see is people are very, very busy. So if anyone out there listening right now in real estate, most of my agents are extremely busy, 3, 5, 7, 10 escrows right now.
Yes.
When this wears off, when this bench kind of wears down, it's going to hit a wall and people are going to be like, what happened? And it's going to fall down. So the ones that are going to succeed are the ones that kept in touch with people, keep spinning things up, but it doesn't happen on its own. CRM, simple system. There's a billion CRMs out there. Most companies have one, and then there's third-party CRMs. But it's just how do you systematically remind yourself to keep in touch with people? Oh, by the way, don't spend 9 years shopping on a CRM. Just plug the names into go through your here's what you do. You go through your contact thing in your phone, and I actually recommend people print it out. You print out, here's what I do with my agents. She asked this is the answer. You print your contacts out from your phone. You can do it. And then you go through your list of contacts and you highlight when you go down, you just go run your finger down. I know this person. I don't know. I know this person. I know this person. Highlight those people. Take those names. Put them into your Google Calendar. And when they pop up in your Google Calendar, you just call them that day. That's all you have to do. Doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Would you agree with that, Danny, or am I losing my mind here?
No, Parker, I completely agree with you. And I think what you said earlier, which is that, the personality-based business is going to go by the wayside. And the people that have the best systems and that actually understand that this is a sales business. Like you said, you got to talk to humans. This is ultimately about sales. And, Parker, it's interesting when I look at other industries, even within our industry of real estate, but I look at other fields and I talk to them, I'm always amazed at how much they get it, that it's about sales. And I'll give you an example. This week, I started coaching a team of title agents, title reps, which I haven't done, right? But my first call was a very exploratory call with the main guy who runs this big title rep team. And I'm like, hey, so what are your metrics? What do your reps have to do, right? And he's like, oh, that's easy. They have to talk to 25 people every day, as I had a light.
Yeah, I just saw light.
What happened?
Yeah,
something just happened. Hold on one sec. Let's change this up. Hold on.
It got very moody right there all of a sudden.
Yeah, hold on one sec.
It is interesting. I'll just sort of fill in here.
Thank you.
So it is interesting as you go from industry to industry. It really is about sales. And what I like to say is, look, if you were running a flower shop, pick a thing, right?
Yep.
If you're running a flower shop, You have to keep inventory. You have to post hours. You have to have some kind of marketing around the holidays, right? But for some reason, when people get into real estate, they feel like I don't need to do any of that. Like this stuff's just going to come to me. I don't need a budget. I don't need to keep hours. Whatever it is, and because there isn't this really overt structure when you're just an independent contractor. I like to say the good news in real estate is your own boss, and is that you're your own boss, and the bad news is you're your own boss. So you know, any bit, whether you're a dentist, I don't know about you guys, but like I think there's someone out selling dentists like kind of a CRM marketing package, because all of a sudden like, man, I get emails from my dentist, I get the postcard from my dentist, I get updates like. And it's like someone got a hold of them because they're horrible at at the business end of the practice, and it's probably really really helpful. So anyway, back to your story about
Okay,
title
Parker,
reps.
I'm back.
Yeah.
So I figured out what happened. The surge protector blew on the camera and the lights and all this stuff, and so there you go. But we are back. So yeah. So let me finish this story because it's super interesting to me. So I call this guy, and the first call, I'm like, hey, what do your reps have to do to be successful? And he goes, oh, that's super easy. They have to talk to 25 people every day, and they have to have 4 Zoom meetings. And I was like, oh, so that's pretty interesting. So they have to talk to 25 people, and then they have to have 4 like half-hour Zoom meetings, right? So I started doing the math, and I'm like, okay, so talk to 25 people. How long does that take? And the guy's like, that takes about 3 hours. And I'm like, and then what about Zoom meetings? And he goes, well, they're 45 minutes each. So that's another 3 hours. And I'm like, so that's 6. So 6 hours of, what we would call in real estate lead generation, right? And so I was like, okay, and then what do they do at the rest of the time? He's like, well, if they're good, they can go to lunch with someone or whatever. But he's like, that's all you got to do. He's like, and if you just do that, you will be extremely successful in our business. And so, it's like in real estate, we try to complicate this stuff, but ultimately it's all about talking to humans, like you said. And that's what's gotten flushed out during this pandemic, I believe.
And what do you like? So how do they? Let's just go down that road for a second. So
Yeah.
how does that? Is the title rep just pulling phone numbers of
No,
agents?
they make it so easy for them. They give them a list of agents that have just gotten new listings, basically, right? And they're like, okay, these 25 people just got a new listing. Call them, offer your services, right? So it's like, it's pretty simple. And then book 4 Zoom meetings with the ones who are interested. So you're going to get a bunch of no's. You're going to get a bunch of, we're already working with someone, but then you're going to get a bunch of like, sure, I'll have a Zoom meeting with you and hear you out. And there you go. That's it.
That actually is it. Did you end your coaching contract with them because you're done?
That was it. I was like, okay, I've done my job. Well, and then the money's obviously in like, okay, what do you say when you call them? And, why aren't you hitting your numbers? Where are you getting distracted? It's all really the same stuff with every sales industry. But, whenever I talk to other salespeople, it's always interesting to me how much, real estate agents fight it. Like, I'm not a salesperson, I'm in the relationship business, and fine. But ultimately, if you don't do that human contact, like you said, you're never going to be successful. So you nailed it for sure.
Yeah, I have spoken with an enormous amount of agents through my career. That I don't want to be salesy.
Right.
And I'm like, well, let's be really clear. You're in a sales position. Now, that doesn't mean you have to come off like a car salesman. That's not it at all. But you do have to know how to sell. And there are, I would say, I think, what is it, Danny? 8 out of 10 real estate agents fall out of the business within 1 year. And that's because you have to sell. You would think, I can't tell you the number of people who are like, someone graduates from college, great. They come from a incredible family. They're well-spoken and all of these things that you would think one would make you successful. And they think that people are just going to come to them and give them their business. And it doesn't happen that way because people are attracted to people that have activity going on around them. That's just a way life is. So, it sort of follows, if you want something done, give the task to a busy person.
Yeah.
And people who are just sort of floating around out there in real estate world, they're going to find themselves not very busy.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And Parker, on that note, by the way, guys, if you're watching this live on YouTube, we got all the camera setups back. Thank you for being here. Give us a big thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel and throw your questions in the chat box. So Parker, we got a great question for you. Here we go. This one comes from Roberto. And the question is, what advice do you have for someone switching careers and introducing real estate as their new career?
Ooh, same advice. I know some people go out and get law degrees and then don't like it, and then they wind up in real estate. Oh, wait, is that you? Right, right, right. I always thought, like, gosh, I wish I had a lawyer. They seem to make so much money.
Right.
And ironically, you see an enormous amount of people in law moving into real estate. Hey guys, same advice. Get a mentor. It doesn't matter what you've done before. Now you're gonna have different transferable skills, but it is the same thing. Join a team, get a mentor. It's so interesting. Like the whole mentorship movement is so sort of in the zeitgeist, so hot right now. It's so in what everyone talks about. Gary V's like, people call me every day and they want me to mentor them. It's like all this. Hey guys, it's not like you go into real estate. It's like, well, I need a mentor in life, but not in real estate. It's like, no, you absolutely need one in real estate. And oh, by the way, I have so like that is unavoidable. I have the company I work for is all across the country, and there's agents that move from all sorts of places in the country. And I have agents that come and they say, I'm an agent in New York. I'm very successful. I'm going to move to Los Angeles and I want to be an agent in your office. And I'm like, yeah, you can come join a team in my office. What do you mean join a team? I said, the business is not the same, not even close to the same. The business in New York, we don't need to go into it, but it's just a different business. Mm-hmm. And just learning the contracts in California, it's a couple years of dealing with the contracts to really figure it out. I mean, look, you can do a boot camp and kind of get an intellectual understanding of the contract, but then there's actually how does it work in practice, right? Like if this, then that. And that is sort of a missing logic piece. That's like you can learn things from a book, but when it comes to practice, it's just a completely different animal.
Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. And it's funny, actually, you say moving around because, with all of this going on and the school craziness, Elena and I are like, hey, why don't we move somewhere else? I interviewed the agent at Compass who runs the top team in Nashville the other day. So then we go on, Elena goes on the Compass site and I'm like, look how much we can get in Nashville.
Yeah, I spoke to a top agent in Nashville who, and we were on a call and someone said, hey, what could I get for $1 million in Nashville? And he said, you can get all the houses.
Put together.
and this individual, by the way, is just interesting. Like this individual, he and his wife are a team. They're one of the top teams in Nashville in our company. Yeah. They sell a bunch of houses. They work like 6 months a year and then travel 6 months a year. And that has been their thing. And like the cost of living there is so low. The cost of housing is low. It's lovely. And they're like, oh yeah, we're able to we bought a bunch of income properties because you can buy them for like 3 cents. Right. They fix them up. They rent them out. They're sustaining their bills because of that. So yeah, it's awesome. It's actually a huge shift that will impact our business greatly, even here in Los Angeles.
I think so. It's actually an interesting thing to talk about. We can touch on that in a second. We do have a question for you, Parker, on the same topic that we've been talking about. So we've already talked about this a little bit. Maybe we can give people some more specifics. This question comes from someone that you and I know well, Elena.
All right, Elena, jump in.
That's right. Who now, by the way, runs a transaction coordination company called ExactTC. So if you're an agent out there and you need that, go to exacttc.com. Plug for her. Okay, so here's the question. Sorry, it left the screen. All right. So Parker, what are you telling your agents right now to help them pivot their business and lead gen in the new COVID landscape? I know we've covered it in general. Let's give them some more specifics. What else are you telling people?
Sure. Yeah, gosh, it's repetitive, but it goes back to people have to get on the phones. They're losing all of their private interaction, and I'm sort of saying you need to double down on that contact. A lot of people make the mistake, I think, of saying I'm going to send more postcards. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make a shinier brochure. Right, and I literally coach with some folks, and each coaching conversation is, what can we do for marketing? What can we do for marketing? They don't want to talk to any humans, right? And it's a continual. It perplexes them continually. that they don't have more business, and they do very well, but they, to get to the next level, I would say like there's probably such a great opportunity right now during COVID. Like, reach out to people. They are starving for contact, and forget about real estate for a second. I've just reached out to friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we haven't talked for a while. Is your family healthy?
Right.
I was just thinking about you. I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm going through my phone. And there's not one person that got my call that was like, "Oh, you haven't called me," right?
Yep.
No one, not one. They were all like, "Oh gosh, how's it going?" So, like, increasing that communication in any way you see fit is great, but there isn't a way around it. And again, I think COVID's a great time to call and check in on people and just say, "I was just thinking about you." Like, you don't need an excuse. One of my favorite lines, Danny, is the question was said, "What do I say when I get on the phone? What's the best script?" And I think the best answer I ever heard was, "Hello."
That's right.
Just be in contact with other people.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it at bigger numbers. I've got a few folks I'm talking with. They're like, "I'm calling 2 people a day." It's like, that's missing the mark, right? You should spend the first 2 hours of your day working on this, getting in touch with people, however you want to do it. But right now, unless I'm missing something, I don't see a way to do it other than getting on the phone or setting up. I got to tell you, for the first 3 months of COVID, we set up a lot of Zoom happy hours, cocktail hours, just dinners, and we were eating, dinners with friends. So if we've quite enjoy it. We're doing it with friends who we've interacted with less than now and during COVID, right? Prior to that, we would only see them every now and again. Now on a monthly basis, we're having a drink or eating food and over Zoom. Like, that's another great way to do it. But any contact is good. I talked to an agent yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I made some calls, but everyone's just kind of renting and they're not interested in buying." I was like, "That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're just reaching out. Just reach out.
Yeah, for sure. I can't agree more, Parker. I think, again, going back to kind of the example, it's like when people ask me, "Oh, well, how many people should I be talking to?" I'm like, listen, if you don't have business or you don't have enough business, you should be spending, 4 hours a day talking to people about real estate. Who do they know? Who can they refer? Where do they work? What can you do? How can you help them? And you'll be amazed at how many opportunities present themselves from doing that. It's just wild. So yeah, I definitely think so. Parker, let me ask you a specific question on something we haven't really touched on yet, because we talked on the human side, the human interaction, calling, things like that, Zoom calls. What about social media, which is obviously huge? What are your thoughts on, we've had a guy on from Compass, actually, who talked about Instagram, but we'd just love to hear your thoughts on social media, what works, what doesn't, what agents should be doing, because I think it's so easy to get lost in social media, and then before you know it, you're like, "Oh shoot, half my day's gone." So love to get your thoughts on that.
Right. I have to say, my opinion now during COVID is different than it was prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because people are sitting in front of their screens. I would say, I have to preface this though with, the biggest trap is to mistake social media for the actual lead generation. And social media is really a form of marketing, right? It is a way to stay, visible to other people, and that's great. There's an individual out there who promotes, getting on Facebook and they call it digital door knocking, right? Like, I'm going to go through my contacts and message everyone on Facebook. That's if you're not doing anything else and you want to do that, that's fine. Here's what I'd say. It's like, again, would all start with your contacts, with your CRM, right? You got to know who you're talking to. So if you can ID, do that thing where you print out the list, you go through, you highlight the people who are your advocates, know you, like you, trust you, would refer you, would do business with you. I think that, I got this from you, I think, actually. And if you saw them at the supermarket, they would come over and say hello, right? So in other words, they get a text from Danny. They're not like Danny who. So that's a really important distinction, by the way, at the end. They have to be some level of familiarity. It can't just be someone you interacted with once. If you want to do something on Instagram, that's great. It's really hard to be compelling on Instagram. It really is. It's also almost impossible to be compelling on Twitter. In fact, I would tell most of the hundreds of millions of Twitter users to stop because it's not interesting, right? Um, and
That's because you haven't seen my Twitter. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
right. It's just like it's really people are deluged with so much input, and the question is always like, oh, has technology made life easier or harder? And I look at my nieces and nephews who are tied to their phones. Prior to COVID, when I go to Starbucks and I look at these people just glued to their phones and they're scrolling through the Instagram or whatever, it's like, okay, well, now if you want to spend some time on Instagram, I think that's great. I think if you want to be active on social media or going through your Facebook in order to purposefully keep in touch with people and message them, I think that's great. I think as it standalone, I think it's a great ad, right?
Right.
But I don't think it's a standalone lead gen or success platform. Look, undoubtedly there are agents out there. It's a very small sliver of agents who are really good at curating Instagram, and they've called me and said, I got business because someone found me on Instagram. But I got to tell you, that's 1 in 200.
Yep.
It's just it. I would love that if I had that eye and that patience and that ability to put a filter over things and take pictures of things. But I choose wisely or unwisely. It's like I'm trying to be present. So for me, going around and taking pictures of everything I'm eating and all this kind of stuff is antithetical to being present in my life with my partner and my family and my client and all my agents. So yes, you can start it up. Don't let it eat up too much of your time. That's my answer right now.
Yeah, no, I think Parker, what you said makes a lot of sense, which is it's a great addition, because what I find personally is like using all that social media stuff for the people that you already know just maybe cements that relationship. So it's not that you get business from Instagram, but if I know you and you keep seeing me in your feed, hey, maybe you're more likely to call me than the other guy that you just met, So that's kind of what I
Well,
some of the agents.
the benefit I see from it is I have a lot of my agents in my Facebook feed. And when they have a baby, sell a house, get a dog, or someone passes away, right? Like I'm aware and I can send them a message and say something congratulatory or conciliatory or whatever. So I think that's a benefit. I can have an idea of what's going on in people's lives. That helps me communicate with my clients.
Yep, no, for sure. I think it's a great answer for that. So, Parker, let me ask you this that I'm actually interested in personally. So, as in your position at Compass in Beverly Hills, which I believe Compass is now the number one real estate brokerage in LA, right, in the LA area.
Yeah, that's right. I think with all of our offices combined, we're the highest volume. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's super exciting. In that position, you oversee, coach, you kind of mentor some of the best agents in all of Southern California doing some amazing business. So when you look at those folks and then you kind of compare and contrast to maybe the people that aren't doing so well, what do you see as the key differences between those people?
It's interesting, and there are a lot, right? If it was the cool thing about real estate that I love is that you can have so many different personalities that work. It can all work, right, in a various combination. But here's what I'd say: is the most successful people they're willing to treat the business like a business. That has to be the number one thing. They have full-time assistants. They have systems. They have a way they have templates on how they market. They're not bouncing around like a pinball from item to item. They're focused. And so like from the business side of it, they have that piece going on, and that works in concert with their ability to sell and to close people, right? They get someone and they're effective. So these are like different these are like several conversations, and I think these conversations it's like a Venn diagram. When they all mix together, that's what works. So they're willing to treat their business like a business, and that's keeping a schedule, having an assistant, doing all the most important things. They're effective at selling. So they're effective at closing people. They're effective at I think they're really effective at knowing when someone's not real and they're not going to waste their time on them. And that's, one of the interesting dichotomies I've seen in real estate is if you have 2 clients, you'll work 24 hours a day. If you have 5 clients, you'll work from 9 to 5.
That's right.
Right? Because you right? Like that's how it works. It seems impossible until you get there. Now, maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe you won't work from 9 to 5. You'll have more work to do, but you'll be able to dictate who you work with and how you work with them. If you're only working with 2 people, they are going to lord over you, and that you're going to do anything you can at 24 hours a day, and that doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's really hard to get out of that. So again, they follow the business practices, and they're able to close. And then there's a level of tenacity that great real estate agents have, and the ability to take a lot of rejection, and have a lot of people say no. The successful agents I work with are just very, very smart people, and they're able to get homes closed and make people happy. So it's that very interesting combination, and it can happen in a lot of different ways. We were talking earlier, part of it's personality based, but as I'm thinking through my top teams and the top agents that are in LA, it's like they all have very widely varying personality profiles. So it's not that in and of itself. They have to have these other components.
Right.
And so I think there's a balance there.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Here's a great question, actually, another one, Parker, coming in in the chat box. By the way, you guys, we got some time left with Parker, so if you're watching this, throw those comments or questions in the chat box. Give us a thumbs up. A lot of people just recently joined us. I think people wake up at about 9:30. Real estate agents wake up at about 11, so we maybe should have had the show then. But thank you guys for joining us. Here's a great question. Actually, if I can figure out the answer to this question, Parker, then we will all be millionaires. So the question is, can you identify someone early on who will be a top producer?
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Hands down. The people I know that will be top producers, they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, I'm just got my license, but I have like 5 of my friends that are like, I've been talking to them and I told them I'm getting my license, and we're already like kind of looking at Redfin together or whatever, right? They're ready to go. I'm talking with so many people, and I got my license because I have these 5 people lined up to go, right? And so this mentality of, right, like jump in first and then kind of figure it out. So you have to have that mentality of, I'm going to dive in, leap and the net will appear, right, and go, versus, well, I know this is always going to be, oh yeah, I'm going to start, but I need to wait for my business cards.
Right.
Like right there, I was like, oh,
yep.
Nope, not going to work. Because then guess what? I can wait for my business card. They're not right. I need a better logo. Wait, should I have my picture on my business card? Okay, great. Okay, I'm ready to go, but I can't really start because I really need to have a flyer to show people if I talk to them. And you know what? I got to wait until my website, because when I give someone a card, then I got to build my website, and then I can actually be real to that. No, it's not the way it works.
Yep.
And that's like the instant person that comes in and they're like, I've got this going on and this going on and this going on. And that's like, great. Now, they may fall apart if they don't have the ability to follow through with people, or the ability to like understand contracts or negotiate. It could crumble, but those people, it works. The other people that work are, when anyone comes to me and they've been an athlete,
yes,
a professional level athlete or amateur or college athlete. I have one individual who I worked with who came to me right out of college in a very, very difficult market, but he had played a sport in college, and he really had to develop his personality and working with others, but man, he followed the system. He talked with people. And I'm so proud to say today, like he's doing, I don't know, 23 to 28 deals in a very, very challenging market. And that's a $1 million minimum on those deals. So
it's awesome.
It's great to see.
Yeah, Parker, I think, athletes and former military personnel, I've always seen do really, really well. And then, of course, people who have had success in another sales industry. If they've been a
Sure.
sales rep somewhere else and they've done really well, former auto, car salesmen have done really well on our team, for that reason, because they understand the system, they understand lead generation and cultivating a sales pipeline and stuff like that. So I think that really helps in real estate. The people that I'll add to your people who don't do really well are the ones that come to me and they're like, I love looking at really expensive homes. That's why I got into real estate. I'm like, all right,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's see how
Yeah.
that works.
I love homes, or I love people.
Yes.
Oh, I love people. And I was like, oh, that's because you've never had a client,
Yeah, right.
right? That's a different
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
right? Now, I have to say, like, my clients, people I sold houses to, by and large, became like great friends. I mean, it was such a great, unexpected consequence of selling real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it's tough. It's a business relationship.
Yep, for sure. No, great point. All right, so we have even more people that are joining us now. Man, I'm starting to rethink the time that we start this show,
Too
Parker.
early, Danny.
All
Too
right.
early.
Well, maybe we'll do 10. I don't know. We'll talk to our admin and see. But you guys, thank you for tuning in. If you're just joining us, we're live here with Parker Beatty, who's a sales manager at Compass in Beverly Hills. After we're done, of course, you can go back and rewatch this. It'll be on YouTube forever. So you can go back and check that out. But if you're here now and you want to ask a question, we still have some more time with Parker, so go ahead and throw that in the chat box below. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. All right, Parker, here's another question for you, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit to real estate teams. We haven't talked about that too much yet, and as you know, that's a huge passion of mine. Well, we talked about the fact that if you're a newer agent, you recommended that to people or you moved here from a different area. But let's talk about teams a little bit. It's something that's been, in vogue for quite a while. What do you see as, kind of some things that work in teams and maybe some things that don't work with real estate teams?
Right. Right. I mean, this is such a great topic. Obviously, I think it's, again, widely varied, right? So if you look at some of the top producing real estate people in Los Angeles, there are a chunk, I don't know, maybe, what would you say? It's like half our teams, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
big teams, like 20 people.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
but I'd say the other half are individuals with one or two people and an admin
Yep.
that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars of business, right? So they're efficient and with one or two or three people, and that really works. And then there's teams that are larger, but the larger teams. Let me just say this: larger teams only work because they have this huge lead flow, right? They have a lot of business.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest mistake I see people make is they're a single agent and they're doing one or two or three or five deals, and they come to me and they say, "I want to build a team." No.
Mm-hmm.
The first step is you got to build. You should be doing 10 or 20 deals first off before you even consider building a team. And the first step is that you work with an assistant. And the reason you work with an assistant is to become more effective at leverage. And let me tell you, working with an assistant is very challenging. It is a skill and it's a muscle, right? So it's something you're not born with, that you learn how to do it. And when you work with an assistant, they make a lot of mistakes. They don't understand. They are not getting it. And it's like, oh, actually, if you look at this from a leadership lens, it's because your leadership wasn't good. You were not clear enough. You didn't have an idea what they were supposed to do, and you are not good at teaching.
Yes.
So, right? So you got to learn these things before you can build a team. And I'd say that the teams that I see that are most successful, they grow very organically, right? So in other words, they are someone doing so much business that they have to hire someone to handle the business, and then they have to hire someone else, and then they adhere to systems. And I'd say this is rare. I mean, I'd say this works. If it works 1% of the time, I'd be surprised, because what you do see in real estate is people grow teams, and then the teams fall apart, and then they grow teams, and then the teams fall apart, and you see people remake them. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to work more and make less money.
Yes.
But the reality is, if you do that once, you should probably say like, oh, there's a piece of this puzzle missing. I find that those agents continually build teams again and again and again because they are not willing to do the hard work to do the lead generation themselves. And that's a continuous cycle of failure or growth, if you want to see it that way. Maybe they get it right at some point. For the most part, I'd say if you're an agent and you want to grow a team, first be just yourself, then get an assistant. The best practice metric is you should be able to double your business with an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the metric. So if you're doing 10 deals on your own, you should be able to do 20 with a great assistant executive. Don't even think about adding a buyer's agent. Like, you should add a showing assistant, or you should add another assistant, right? That's the next step. And this isn't my opinion. This is what works, right? This is the model. This is what works. Like I said earlier, you can buy a McDonald's and try to make pizza. That's just not going to work. So you can do it different ways. But I think it's sort of borne out, especially in this environment where we have constricted inventory. You can't go talk to people. Like, building a team, if you aren't on one now, is what I would say is, if you can put in systems and processes to support a team now, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then grow into that. But just like adding humans, have you ever seen it work, Danny? I mean, it's tough. It's really hard.
No, I mean, and in fact, Parker, as you were saying that, I was like laughing inside, because I'm like, hey, that's what I've done several times, right? Like, it's something that, some people as entrepreneurs and business people want to do and force, but there is a proven method that works. There's a book that talked about it years ago, right? Here are the levels of your business, and you go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 all the way to level 7. You don't go from level 1 to level 7, and you don't do it backwards, right? Because you just screw it up. So yeah, there's a method, and you can you follow that method and have the coaching and accountability around that proven plan and execute. And like you said early on, I love what you said, which is get your ego out of the way, right? There's a way that works. Do it that way. So Parker, we have one more question, which is probably the most important question we've gotten in the chat box. And then we are going to our DannyBLive lightning round of questions, which you don't know about
lightning
yet.
round.
But we're going to have a lot of fun. But first, the most important question we've gotten. So this one, let's really brainstorm on. And that comes from Claire. And the question is, what brand are your glasses?
These are reading glasses. These are called Easy Peasies. They're just straight up reading glasses.
All right, there we go.
I have like 5 pairs of them.
I love it. Great question, Claire. All right, Parker, are you ready for the lightning round? Let's give us a little party noise here. Oh, no, that's not the party noise I wanted. I wanted something a little better. There we go.
Wow, that is
better.
a party. That's a party I try to avoid these days.
That's right. That's the COVID party that people are having and
right,
have some issues with. All right, Parker. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun now that we've covered so many great things on this video. By the way, guys, if you joined us late, you can always go back on YouTube, watch the thing, and check it out, because so much great advice from Parker, who oversees some of the top teams, in the country here in Southern California, where we have some pretty expensive real estate for sure. So let's go to the lightning round. Parker, the rules of the lightning round are, there are no rules. You can say whatever comes to mind. You can explain it or not. You don't have to explain it, and just give us whatever you think. So you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Parker, what is your superpower?
I have one of my superpowers is my hearing is a 1 microsecond faster than most people's hearing. So like, someone will tell a joke and I will start laughing an uncomfortable microsecond before everybody else. This superpower has absolutely no good use at all. It doesn't benefit me in any way, but that's my superpower.
Wow, that is very cool. I love it.
Weird.
We may have to have a exploratory call on that just to talk about that. All right, good stuff. Okay, Parker, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I think I wanted to be an actor. And in fact, in high school, I was involved in drama and musicals and all this sort of thing. And then I didn't. And then I met all the people in the entertainment business, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that at all.
Good call. We had all those people at my high school. We had a huge drama department. And I was like, it's kind of interesting, but I don't want to hang out with those people. No offense.
It's all right. It was me. It was all right.
No offense. Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt right now? I love, and I haven't quite figured out how to work this into my life, but like
currently I'm in the midst of beginning to remodel a house,
Mm.
and if I had endless time and money, like I really love tinkering around in some level of construction. I don't know how to do it all, but in the house I'm sitting in right now, I was bought the house and it needed everything, and I sort of hung out with the contractors and watched them do things, and I did a bunch of stuff on my own and took on projects on my own, and I really really enjoyed it. I think I haven't quite figured out, like, I don't want to be, every contractor I talk to says you don't want to be lugging around drywall when you're older, and I don't. I'm trying to figure out, like, I like tinkering and like handyman stuff around my house. There's some aspect of that I think would be cool or fun.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun. I like that. All right. What is your favorite restaurant or type of food?
Well, I mean, I'd have to say, like, my favorite restaurant is Republique in here on La Brea and Wilshire, around there. Uh, it's my favorite restaurant, but I would say my favorite food is definitely Mexican food. Eat it every day. Love my Trejos tacos right down the street, and
Yes.
can't never tire of it.
I'm with you. All right, so I'm going to tell you my story, since Mexican food's your favorite. It is also my favorite, which is not good. We used to have a Russian nanny, and we actually, right before COVID, she left, and we hired a Hispanic nanny, a Mexican nanny, and she used to own a Mexican restaurant. This has been very bad for me, Parker, because I've eaten so much Mexican food. I think I gained, like, the COVID-19 like hit here in reality in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah.
pounds. And now I'm like, all right, like, Margie, no more. Like, one day a week. So I'm now on the way back down. But Mexican food, I'm with you on that. Okay, next question. Who's your favorite musician or type of music?
Oh, I'm kind of like I have a very diverse interest in music, and I like a lot of different music. For the music sticking in my head, and it's not just right as like my Hamilton. I loved Hamilton and watch it. It's not. I don't necessarily listen to that soundtrack every day, but I do find myself like replaying that music in my head. I've enjoyed Lizzo, like, for somehow came into my world, and I enjoyed listening to that. But it's sort of like I'll just hear something, and it'll be from all time periods, right? Like I love music from the '80s. Love my '80s music. It makes me very, very happy.
That's right.
So I'm all over the place with my musical. If you were listening to my playlist, it ranges from whatever, ranges all over the place. There's no relationship to anything else.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of different things, for sure. You got some props there. Hamilton and Lizzo are amazing, from Reva, who's watching. So there you
All
go.
right, thanks.
All right, let's see what else I can ask you that's really fun. Oh, here's a good one. Parker, what's your perfect vacation?
I listen. I love a beach. Here we are. We live in Southern California, but man, I love a beach vacation. I love Hawaii. I want to go to Bali. I've been to Australia a few times. I like sun and warmth, and I love the beach. And I like, sitting by a pool, reading, like, just quiet wind, the breeze blowing, and blue skies and fluffy cloud. That's just that warmth. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm with you. Elena likes that idea of a vacation too. So when I told her that next month, actually, we're going on an RV trip, she wasn't very excited. She's still not very excited.
No, sorry, Elena. No, no. My partner's been threatening me, like, let's get an RV, let's do an RV trip. And I've
Yeah.
sort of like capitulated to that. Like, oh yeah, I would do that. But it is like, to me, that means not sleeping, like sleeping in a very small space or something. And I don't know, but
No,
who
dude, they're
knows?
pretty sweet. Like, we rented one that's huge. It's like 35 feet, and it's got, a king size bed, and it's, the
Yeah.
kids are gonna have it's gonna be fun.
Let me know how that goes.
I will let you know. If I'm still married at the end of the trip, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
Okay, we got a couple more lightning round questions here. This is great. The point of this, by the way, guys, I want you to get to know the man behind the businessman, Parker. So this is what we're doing here. I got two more lightning round questions for you. The
Go for
first
it.
one is, what natural gift that you don't have would you most like to possess?
Ooh, I mean, I wish I was, well, don't know, I guess I wish I was smarter, right? Like I wish I learned things faster. I have to work very, very hard to learn things. And I went to UCLA, and a lot of my classmates were, I mean, so smart. They read it and they got it and they integrated it and they could use it. And I just like, oh, I wish I had that. But for me, I have to like really like look and read and reread and study and take notes and think about it and get a tutor. And I mean, really to get the stuff into my brain is feels hard to me. So it would be like that would be greater intelligence, right? Like I would love to learn more easily or with more ease.
Yeah, but you know what, Parker, I do have to say, I usually don't comment on people's lightning round answers, but I will say that that might be a positive thing for you because that's made you work harder and, that's gotten you to where you are today. Maybe if you were smarter, you'd be lazier.
True. All true.
So there you go. Okay, last lightning round question. This is my favorite lightning round question since it's my show. I get to ask it, and that's because I'm a car guy. The question is, what car best embodies your personality?
Ooh, I have to tell you, great question. And I've been looking around at cars a lot, and I was like, I'm going to think about like you have a Range Rover. I'm going to get myself a big Range Rover. But I kind of like, for some reason, I have this attraction towards like a big, boxy, kind of off-roady cars, which, it's a little bit Range Rover-y, but Ford has a new Bronco coming out.
Yes.
Now, let me note this by saying I do not off-road. I've never off-roaded. I probably will never off-road. So the fact that this automobile comes with like giant tires and you can take the doors off and the roof comes up, like I will probably never utilize any of that. But I really like the way it looks. It's kind of big and boxy, a little bit retro, but like, rugged, and you can throw stuff in it. And it's just really attractive to me. It makes very little sense in like the way it looks, but I would never like use the utility of it. But I really like the way it looks. So I think I'm going to try to get one of those.
Parker, you definitely should. So you haven't seen me in a while. I do not have the Range Rover anymore, and I actually went to exactly what you're talking about. I have a Jeep Wrangler. It's lifted. It's got 37-inch tires. So you could take the doors off and the roof off, and we use it. I go off-roading, all the time with the kids. It's a lot of fun. You should definitely get one.
All right. Fantastic.
And you can drive over anything. So like you can drive over curbs,
I need
anything.
That. I need that. I looked at my car the other day and I said, man, other people are really like hitting my car. And then I'm like, no, it's me hitting things, trash cans, curbs, trees, bushes, fences. It's me. Yeah. So like a bigger car is really appealing to me.
I think you should totally rock that. I think they're taking deposits because it comes out in like 2021.
They are.
You can reserve it online.
I made my reservation.
Oh, you did? All right, sweet. So, hey, when you get it, I'm taking you off-roading. That's the plan.
All right. I love it.
All right. I have steel bumpers on my Jeep, and Elena has like the big Escalade because she drives the kids around. And I said that to her the other day. I'm like, Elena, will you stop hitting things? It's like everything's scratched up, the rims. I'm like, I'm going to make you start driving the Jeep. She hates driving my Jeep, but I'm going to make her do it because she keeps hitting everything. All right, sweet. Well, I'm excited for you to get the Bronco, and we can go off-roading.
I love it.
That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, well, Parker, that is the end of the lightning round. So now that we've finished that, first of all, I want to thank you for that. And before we go, I do have a special announcement coming up, so don't go anywhere if you're watching this and you're a real estate agent. But before we get to that, Parker, wanted to just get you to offer our real estate agents, our budding millionaires right here on the show, or maybe they already are millionaires, some parting words of wisdom from Parker Beatty.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I mean, I just have to say, keep on going. It's just that the tenacity wins. Just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And you don't have to get everything perfect, but keep being tenacious in a time right now, and it's really hard to be tenacious and to keep going. The most successful folks I see just are continuing on, and while right now it doesn't seem like there's seemingly any end, there will be an end to this, and there will be opportunity that arises out of this really challenging time. I think it's going to open up a lot of there'll be some downside to it, but it's going to be accompanied by an equal or greater upside. So that like for sure is going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, Parker, thank you so much for being on the show today and for all of your wisdom that you've offered. If you're a real estate agent or you're thinking of getting into real estate, this is really kind of a must-watch in real estate and how to build your business, create $1 million business, build a team, what you should and shouldn't be doing. So tons of good stuff here. Parker, thank you very much for being on the show. You guys don't go anywhere because now I wanted to talk to you about a little something. Oh, let me move the camera there. Something that I am super excited about, you guys. So for the last, 4 years or so, I have been coaching real estate agents. I also run a real estate team and sales and all that kind of good stuff. But I've been coaching some of the top real estate agents and teams in the country, which has been a ton of fun on a one-to-one basis, really custom programs. And while I'm still doing that, I've gotten a lot of requests from people for help in real estate. How can I help them get started in real estate? How can I help them grow their business, if they don't have a big team or they don't want to build a team right now, or, maybe they're just getting started so they can't make a big investment into coaching or training or whatever that is. And so what we have launched as of yesterday is the Coach Danny B online Academy. And you can find that by, let me move the screen over a little bit. You can find that by going to CoachDannyB.com. There are several different courses and programs there for you wherever you are in the real estate business. So if you're brand new, we got a course for you. If you're, kind of newer and you just can't build momentum, we have something for you there. If you're someone who already wants to, build a big team and you want to hire assistants, and what Parker talked about today, which is how to work with people, how to hire them, how to hold them accountable, how to lead them and train them, we have stuff in there for you as well. Or if you need a custom solution, of course, we still have that, and I still offer that all the time. So you can book a strategy call right on that website if that's what you want to do, or you can just pick the course option that works really well for you. So hop on over to CoachDannyB.com. We have a video that is going to be coming out right now. It's dropping on the YouTube channel, so you can head on over there and watch that channel watch that video about the online academy. It'll talk to you about all the different options we have there. So something I'm super excited about, you guys. I want to thank you for tuning in to the show every single week. We do this every Thursday at 9 a.m. We might switch the time though, based on when people hop on, and we have other videos that come out on the YouTube channel all the time. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell icon, all of that good stuff. I want to thank you for being here today. I appreciate you, and everyone have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.